brought to you by Coors Banquet. That's how it's done.
We are back live in Indianapolis, site of the 2018 NFL Combine. Nearly 40 NFL coaches and GMs answering questions here today before workouts begin on Friday. The Minnesota Vikings have some decisions to make at quarterback. Minnesota, of course, facing the possibility that all three quarterbacks on their roster last season, that includes Case Keenum, Teddy Bridgewater, and Sam Bradford, will move on depending on the decisions that are made. Here's GM Rick Spielman.
I'm sure you want me to address the quarterback situation. We feel very strongly about moving forward because of all the in-depth knowledge we have on our current three quarterbacks. Just to make clear, there have been no decisions made. I know there's been 1,000 reports out there on how we're going to move forward. You know, Case Keenum came in, led our football team, did a phenomenal job. I know we've had internal discussions on how he fits with some of the things Coach Filippo wants to do. We were very excited about what Case was able to accomplish.
Well, no pun intended, but you could make a case that Keenum was the best situational quarterback last year. He excelled in just about every important area a quarterback needs to thrive in. The highest QBR in a handful of areas, including against the blitz, on play action, and under pressure. Not bad for a guy who had the worst QBR in 2016 among those who qualified. Adam, I'll start with you. What do you expect out of Minnesota?
Well, we were just talking about this, and my two very wise colleagues here, we've all deduced that this is a very simple solution as to what the Minnesota Vikings are going to do. Again, there have been no decisions, and you heard Rick Spielman say there have been many reports, but we have not made any decisions yet. And I think the thing to remember here is that maybe the Vikings don't franchise tag Case Keenum, but they could put the transition tag on him. And as we were just discussing, what you could do is put the transition tag on Case Keenum. You could wait to see if you get a quarterback like Kirk Cousins, and I do believe that they will inquire about Kirk Cousins and be in that market. And if you get Kirk Cousins, you can pull the tag on Case Keenum, the transition tag. And if you don't get Kirk Cousins, you've assured yourself, not assured yourself, but kept alive and made it a really good chance that you're going to keep Case Keenum. They're sifting through it. I think they'll be in the market for Kirk Cousins. I think Case Keenum is still possibly back in Minnesota, depending on what happens. And that's where the Vikings are at today. And I defer to you men to say how you would handle this.
Well, it simply baffles me that if all three guys are going to be free, and we know Sam Bradford is, we suspect that Teddy will be, because he will be unless his contract tolls, and we haven't seen any definitive word on that. And then if, in fact, as these reports state, they were to let Case Keenum go, they would be bereft of a quarterback and then at the mercy of an agent who wanted to extract the maximum price for a position where they have no one other than the young man that was the Kyle Slaughter, who was the third quarterback. He may be the wild card. They may say, we're perfectly happy to have him, and we'll go into the market in the draft or elsewhere, but we're not going to break the bank for somebody. That's the decision that they can make. But on the surface, it's puzzling, which it tells me that the information that's out there may not be coming from the best source. It might be coming, dare I say, from an agent who's trying to drum up some business for his own client.
What was interesting to me is hearing Rick Spielman say in their conversations already internally with Coach DiFilippo that they know exactly what they're looking for and what they have in Case and where they are going and really what their plan is going to be going forward. They have a good idea. They're not sitting here still really trying to decide, is Case really the future with us? Is he really the long-term answer? They have an idea already. And what would be baffling to me is that would they consider the price tag that it would cost to get Kirk Cousins relative to what it would cost to franchise and maybe work out a long-term deal with Case Keenum? Is there that much of a difference in your internal discussions that you see in their projected performance? Because for me, I don't see that. I don't see that. And this is interesting to me to see what they wind up doing, whether they wind up putting any kind of tag on him at all, how big of a run they make at Kirk Cousins, what Case Keenum winds up getting if he isn't with the Minnesota Vikings. This has so many layers to it to me that, I really thought, Bill, in our discussions already, that this would be a no-brainer, that you would tag him and then see what else was going on in the free agent market.
Franchise or transition?
The transition makes much more sense.
Yeah, sure. Either one. I don't see. Look, there's still, to me, there seems to be some inherent reservation about Case Keenum within that organization. That to me seems very obvious.
I think you have to read the tea leaves, no?
Yeah.
I mean, at this case, you'd have to assume that.
So you're tagging Case Keenum.
Yeah.
You're tagging Case Keenum.
Yes.
And I'm putting the transition tag on Case Keenum.
No, I would put the transition tag on too.
Yeah. Well, but the point is, we all are in agreement that there's some type of tag and protection that will be applied to him to make sure that you controlled the market.
Correct.
Well, to Lewis's point, we don't know what those internal discussions are, but you can certainly assume he said they've had them. They know they do have a plan.
And they're in no rush.
And they are clearly
and don't have to
in no rush. And you're right, Bill, to your point, they don't have to be. The Dolphins announced plans last week, speaking of tags, to use the franchise tag on Jarvis Landry. Our own Adam Schefter here reporting the two sides plan to meet today here at the Combine at some point to discuss the possibilities. Here's head coach Adam Gase.
We knew we were going to do it. We weren't sure when the best timing was for us. We just decided to do it on that first day. We felt like that was the best thing for us to really, for him to know that that's there. And, we'll just kind of see how this plays out.
Do you want him to be part of the team next year?
Yeah, I mean, if it works out the way that we've kind of looked at things, that's why we franchised him. And we'll just kind of see how it goes.
Insider Josina Anderson will be here in Indianapolis with us all week as well. And Josina, I'll simply ask you the latest you're hearing on a potential meeting between Jarvis Landry's representatives and the Dolphins.
Yeah, as for a specific time of day on that meeting, I'm hearing that Jarvis Landry's rep and the Dolphins intend to meet this evening. I checked with the source within the hour to see if that was still the case, and they told me yes. My understanding is that the purpose of this meeting is to ascertain what is the true interest really of this team in Jarvis Landry. Now, we know that he was franchised at a franchise tag at a value of $16 million, but what's weird here is that I'm told talks went cold when Jarvis Landry's reps presented a counter proposal to the team's proposal from there, and there's not really some security as far as how much they really are interested in Landry. When it comes to trying to assess, well, what is his value, my understanding is that Landry feels that he should be paid at a level above what Devontae Adams recently got in December on his extension, with the deal averaging $14.5 million. If this doesn't get done, and there's still strong belief that the team is trying to trade him, I would keep an eye on Indianapolis and the Tennessee Titans.
Josina, switching gears, Washington linebacker Zach Brown, who's a tackling machine, also set to become a free agent. What are the chances he stays put?
Well, I'm told that the Redskins are interested in re-signing linebacker Zach Brown, who led the league in tackles with 127 through Week 14 before getting injured. Now, they also had a strong impact from him in the run defense as well, so they know what he can do on the field. I'm told both sides talked during the season on a deal that averaged between the higher end of $7.5 and $9 million. A source told me, though, that did not make sense for Brown. My understanding is that Zach Brown is looking to be compensated at a level as the top 3 inside linebacker. And quickly, for perspective on that market, Bobby Wagner averages $10.75 million a year. Alec Ogletree, $10.5, with Brown feeling like he should be paid in that double-digit range. Wendy, back to you.
Josina, thank you. We look forward to hearing from you all week. And meanwhile, it has been a wild ride, as you might expect, for Philadelphia Eagles head coach Doug Peterson. He joins us to talk about the future and defending a Super Bowl champion.